Hey, hey, hey! Good afternoon, beautiful souls. It's Alison here. How are we all doing on this Sunday afternoon? Just walking and talking. If you want to jump on and talk with me, then talk with me. So, what we're doing this weekend, and we had a good weekend. I've had a good weekend. I've been doing a lot about bits and bobs in the office. Had a lovely virtual call from my nephew last night, which was nice. So just like pottering around. So as I walk and talk today, what am I going to talk about? Let's have a think about it. Would anybody like to chuck some questions? Hi Sarah. Would anybody like to chuck any questions at me while I walk and talk? Because I like to walk and talk, so I'm quite happy to answer or give you clarity to any questions while I'm walking. But over the weekend, there's been a lot of mixed messages going around, as always. The energy is quite high at the minute. I've had a lot of realisations over the past weeks, as I'm sure everybody else has. But sometimes the feeling is, sometimes they come and you don't even realise it's happened, and then you just sit there and think, oh my God, yeah, I get that. Wow, yeah, I didn't react in that way that I usually do. It's very blasé when things start to happen, and one of the things that had not so long happened is that the reality is that I was always told I never listen. Hi Sarah, hi Lee. I never listen. You never listen. That's what da da da. And I'm like, oh, I never listen. So my partner would say to me, yeah, I told you that. Or say I'm late, or say I'm not where I'm supposed to be at any time, or whatever. And I say, well, you never told me that. And they used to say, yeah, I did, but you just don't bloody listen. And in the end, guys, the amount of times I heard that, even at school, the school used to tell me that, you never listen, that's why you never get anywhere and all this. And I'm like, oh my God. Actually, you do actually think after a time, well, I just can't listen then. Your ears sort of like shut down. It's bizarre. It's bizarre what happens. Anyway, as time clicked on, I'd think, hang on a minute, this ain't all me. This definitely ain't all me. I'd get the blame for everything. I'd get the blame for my partner not speaking to his family. He'd blame me, and then he'd blame me again because he says he wants to speak to him, but it's my fault. How can it be my bloody fault? It weren't my fault in the first place. But you know what? I used to think it was. I used to think, oh God, yeah, it must have been my fault. What have I done wrong? He stuck up for me. He did this, he did that. Of course it's my fault. And I thought, for years I used to think everything was my fault. But you hear so many times that it is your fault, and that you're not doing it right, you're not doing the housework right, you're not doing the washing, the ironing on time, you're not tidying up the house, you're not polishing stuff where you should polish it. And in the end, you sort of like think, in the end, you do generally believe that it is your freaking fault, and that it is you're doing. And as time goes on, and the more aware, and the more this stuff comes to you from people, it grinds you down, guys. It grinds you down. It confuses the freaking hell out of you, because you're like, oh yeah, it must be my fault. Hang on a minute, no. And then you start talking to your bloody self like your inner critic kicks in, and before you know it, you're in a heap and a mess of confusion and don't know what to do to be right. But this week I've had the awareness. My awareness comes to me, and I'm like, actually I do listen, and actually it's not my fault. Yeah. But for years, I used to believe it was my fault, and I used to believe it is my fault, and it is my fault, and it is my fault. That's all I used to say to her. Well, it is your fault, because no, you never did this, and no, you never. So what if I didn't? Does it matter if I didn't do the cleaning at the right time, or the washing at the right time, or the shoes weren't lined up how they were supposed to be, or I don't know. I never bowed and said, sir, no, 3 bags full. So, well, no, it don't matter, because it's not my problem. Hi Denise. It wasn't my problem then, and it still isn't my problem now. The problem lies with the person that's moaning and groaning about it. So I had to have my true words, as you do, And that in itself, just by speaking your true words, such a it's such a relief. It's such an energy boost just to be able to say your true words and say it from a place of serenity instead of jumping down their throat and growling at them like a dog barking, because that's what they're doing to you. So you absolutely want to do that. You absolutely want to get hold of them and wring their necks, if I'm honest. But you just, in time, you just like, sort of like just fades away and you approach it all different. And the things that you approach in a different mannerism just become boring, if I'm honest. It's all just very boring and blasé. But on the back of that, it's not nice to be on the receiving end when that happens. It's not nice to be walking on eggshells. It's not nice to have that feeling of, oh, I wonder what's going to happen today. Or wonder what sort of situation things are going to happen in my life today. Or wonder what sort of mood they're going to be in when I get home from work. Or have I done this right? Or what they're going to moan about. No, it's not nice. So through all my journey and my awareness of what's going on, I've come to realise that we have to put boundaries in place, guys, and I've been speaking about this quite a lot this week. Boundaries is quite important in a relationship, boundaries is quite important in a friendship, and boundaries is very important also in a workplace, guys. Yeah, it's very, very important to have your boundaries in place and stick to them. Yeah, so I put my boundaries in place. I was like, no way am I going to be spoken to like that anymore. No way am I going to be treated in that way, because I'm worth more than that and I don't deserve to be treated in that way. Yeah? So what happened for this to change? What do you mean, Lee? What happened? I'm quite happy to answer. What do you mean, what happened? I'm forever getting told to do your job properly. Yeah, and you know what? The thing is, the more you do it, Sarah, the more they'll expect you to do it. Yeah, the more you... It's sort of like bowing down to them in a way, but while that's happening, you're too scared, you're too worried to do anything else. You think, oh, I'll just do it, just to smooth it over, just to keep the peace. Oh, sorry, Lee, it's all right. Yeah, it's all right, I'll just smooth it over, I'll just keep doing it, because it's just a lot easier to do that. It's just easier to keep the peace. Yeah, maybe it is on the surface to you, but on the inside, what's it actually doing to you? What's it creating within your being? Yeah, what it's actually doing is you're all anxious, you're all like, oh my God, what if I don't do it? I better do it. And then you're all on jitter, and then you're all like that, and then in the end, all that pain and hurt and fear and anguishment and all that inside of you suppresses in your body and turns into anxiety and depression. Yeah, and it does. That is what anxiety is. Yeah. And the thing is, I've had anxiety, so I know what it's been like. I've been through that much in my earlier days, in my relationships, that I used to go to the shop and buy things that the kids never even used to eat, because my head was so much in a dizzy space. But like, the more we hold on to it and the more we keep running around and being that people pleaser for others, the more they will allow it to happen. It's like it's giving them other people some kind of like, not, I don't know what the word is. It's not clarity, it's more of power. It's more of leadership. It's like, yeah, you will do as you're told, yeah? And I know it doesn't help, right? And I didn't realise this myself. But what it is it's their lineage, it's their family lineage. So they've heard it from their, probably their mother or father was like that. You do this, you do that, you don't do this, you do it there. You ain't done that right, and they just bring it forward. And unfortunately, yeah, the people that are on the receiving end are always the loved ones of the people that's doing it. No, it's not acceptable. No, it's not right. But unfortunately, it is reality. And it's more so a reality nowadays because people are not aware of it. Yeah, people are not aware of what's happening because they've done it for so long. Like me, I'm one of them, I'll announce it. Done it for so long, it's just the main thing. It's like putting your shoes on every day. Yeah, it's like popping your shoes on, taking a walk, coming back and restarting and cracking on again. That is exactly how it is. sorry Sarah, let me just read this. Problem is about my kids. I won't class them as my job. It is just because I take time for myself. Yeah, well, they don't like it that you take time for yourself, you know. With me, in my situation, I can only say about my situation, but with me, it was jealousy on the other part, on my partner at the times. It was jealousy. It was like it's like when you first get in a relationship and it's all lovey-dovey and all that lot, and you've only got eyes for them. Of course you have, because it's new, you've got nothing else in. But then reality, we grow up, we have kids, and then that bit of love that we give to them 100% is lifted a bit, because obviously you have a child, so they feel a little bit neglected, and that's how it is. Yeah, and that is just how it is, unfortunately. And when this happens, they like to be in control. They like to take control. And if they can't, this is when the anger comes in and the frustration. And that's when they try to keep you on point where you're supposed to be. They scare you into it. It's a scare tactic. It's fear. Yeah? And I've had loads. Sorry, what did Lee say? Why have you suddenly realised? I haven't suddenly realised it, Lee. What it is there's always another realisation that pops up. You know, I'm 54 years of age, so I've got a lot of realisations, but I never realised that I lived in a narcissistic relationship for a long, long time, many years. I didn't even know what narcissism meant. I didn't even know that until I started researching it, and till I started my soul journey. I didn't even know that. And when I realised that, and when I read into it, and when I started doing my inner work, I thought, oh my God. The more I read into it, the more I was like, wow, that's what I get. Oh my God, yes, that's me. Tick. Oh my God, that happens to me. Oh shit, that's what I do. And I mean, so much realisation there was epic. You know, I would bike home from work, and as I got to the end of the street, my stomach would start churning. I mean, I'm going back a few years now. My stomach would start churning. I'd get sweaty palms, water in my mouth. I'd need to go to the toilet. And I say to people about it before, like I had a best friend that I always just talked to, they thought I was stupid. They thought, well, you know, but I never knew what I was going home to. Was I going to go home to this man that was the person that I met, or was I going to go home to this man that had had a few beers and got a bit gobby? Never fisticuffs or nothing like that, but like to give him his 2 and 8, you know. After a day's work, you don't want that. So what used to happen, I just used to go in and keep myself aligned, keep myself busy, but aligned in that busyness, and just done everything. Made sure everything was clean, made sure everything was tidy, made sure the shoes were in the right place, made sure the kids were quiet, made sure they were in bed at time. In fact, make sure the kids weren't even around downstairs, and made sure they were upstairs. I couldn't believe it that I used to do that. That I was like it's like he had the strings and I was dancing that merry tune, if that makes sense. Oh, I'm blind. Oh yeah, I feel for you, Lee. I feel for you. So you must know where I resonate from. Everybody's is different. Some's more powerful than the others. And the sad thing is that people don't realise this is actually happening because they just think it's their normal. Yeah, they do. They just think it's their normal. For me, you know, my heart was telling me that the man was a good man. He wasn't the man that I met. My mind was telling me to freaking run for the hills. My friends and my family were certainly telling me to run for the hills. But there was something there, right? And there was something there. And for me, as silly as it may sound, but when you start doing your inner work, this is where you start picking the pieces to bits to find out the core of the being and the core of the root of the problem, like a dirty old weed. So when I started picking up my bits where I needed to go, it was me. I'd put an emotion in place years ago that when my mum and dad split up, that I would never be brought up. My kids will never be brought up in a broken family. Yeah, because that brought so much hurt and pain to me. I was lifted from a nice school, nice reality, nice life into this war zone of an estate, to a school where I didn't know anybody, and when they found out where I'd come from and what my parents did before, you know what people can be like. And back in the day, I'm talking a long time ago, reality was that I was classed one of the upper class kids. I'm the same as everybody else. I was brought into this world, I will go out this world, I eat the same and I pass through the same as everybody in this land. There's no difference. I'm my unique self. But when you're at school, the kids get a bit, anyway, that brought me so much loneliness and everything into my reality. And that's another story, I could go on to that as well. But that awareness for me, and me just saying them through words, embedded in my subconscious mind, and I've run with it. I've run with it for years. And with doing my work, going deep into my inner self, clearing my subconscious level, and intuitively guiding myself, and been working with my mentor, I've broke down so many walls and barriers and picked so many things that I put in there in place myself, because we only put it in place ourselves. But what it is, it's what we've been through. So what we've been through, what we've seen, what we've heard in society growing up, is what gets embedded in our subconscious mind, and we run with it. Simple as that. We just run with it. So that's how I come about this realisation about the narcissistic relationship. Yeah. And although it does go on in houses, and you can put your boundaries in place and say you're not going to put up with it, say you're not going to do it, but then you have to stick to them. Yeah, because what happens, you say, right, that's it, I'm never doing that again, don't talk to me that way, don't treat me that way. Yeah, you probably even go off on a tangent, shout and bawl at each other, and don't speak for months on end. Yeah, but after that, when it just gets to the tip of the iceberg, where enough's enough, I can't take this anymore, and then this little bloke that you met all them years ago, that wooed you off your feet when you was that sort of age, that made your heart flutter, that made you bloody whatever he made you do, comes back. Sarah, you still online? It's like he's been pulled out of a bag from somewhere. Yeah, and he clicks into gear, and you're like, oh, maybe this is going to be the one. Maybe this is going to be the time where things change. Maybe this is going to be the time. Can you tell Sarah Kelly I'm live? She's ringing, please. Maybe this will be the time where he actually means it. He knows I mean business, and he actually means it. And I'm like, So you just stay with them. The cuddles come. They start taking you out. Mine never used to take me anywhere. They used to take me out, start taking me out. The cuddles used to come, even a bunch of flowers every now and again. And then you're like, oh, yeah, this is all right. You feel amazing. You feel light. You feel loved. You feel sexy. You feel loads of things. But what you don't feel is confused, hurt, miserable, ugly, fat, undesirable. No, because he's making it happen again. Or she can be making it happen, depending on which way the relationship is. Or your friends could be making it happen again. But so that's why we stick around. That's why we take it. So for me, it was never physical abuse. It was always mental abuse. And again, I didn't even realise that. But the boundaries I've put in place, and with the work that I've done, is amazing. And I stick to my boundaries. And I still stick to my boundaries to this day. Yeah? And it worked for me. It worked for me purely because I cleared all my stuff. Yeah? Because two wrongs don't make a right. Two bats and a ball in the middle does not make a relationship, does not make you complete. Yeah? What it makes you is hurt and feeling drab, confused, down, never knowing what the next day's bringing. It's not nice. It's not nice. Yeah? And, you know, I used to get up, paint that pretty picture on. I used to hold down a full-time job, for God's sake, front of house supervisor for years. And people looking on the outside of me, we had our own house, you know, went on holiday, 3 kids and a pipe, you know, dog in the corner and all that, you know, same old collateral. And people used to say to me, I can't believe all that. And I'm like, well, you just get up every day, you paint your pretty picture on. Thanks, Sarah. You put your pretty picture on. Your face, you stand there in your job. Look, I knew what I was doing in my job. On the outside, I was very confident. Just had the normal life. Used to go out weekends dancing, all that. Inside, I was absolute mess. I was crumbling. My belly used to wrench. I used to have diarrhoea. Then I was constipated. I had irritable bowel syndrome. Then the hay fever started, which is another nervous complaint, which is another suppressed emotion. And yeah, it's took me a long while, guys, to go back to that place, to be able to share it with people. Because I shut it out for so long. Once I did my inner work, I shut it out, that nobody was going to ever hurt me like that again, that nobody was ever going to do that again, that I shut out how to love. I shut out how to accept love. I shut out how to allow love back to me, yeah, because I was never going to get hurt again. No. Nobody was ever going to get under my skin and pull me to shreds, yeah? So that, again, was another thing I had to learn. I had to learn how to love myself again, because I never had no love either. You know, I was always searching for the love, the cuddles and the happiness from when my mum and dad split up, because my mum had to go to work all the time so to provide for us. So when I used to come home from school after being ridiculed and bullied by them girls and boys, there was nobody ever there for me. Yeah? Again, loneliness. There was nobody ever there to wipe my tears away and say everything was all right. It's not her fault. She worked bloody hard and she was a good mother. But when you need somebody there, they're not there. And I felt so lonely. So all the time I was reaching out for somebody just to hold me, to cuddle me, to make me feel special. Yeah? And that's another reason why I'd stayed. Because every time I tried to get out and come away and started to fall into the happy bit, that nice person had come back that I met all them years ago. It's a vicious circle, life. And if you don't get off that feeling of being down and hurt and depressed and find your soul core of your happiness, because we're the creators of our own life, guys. Yeah, we hold the remote, we hold the remote, we press the buttons and we keep going. But what we don't realise is that, and it is hard to understand, that we are the ones that are allowing it to happen. Because if we stood up for ourselves, and if, like me, if I just stood up for myself and said, hang on a minute, I've done the housework, if you don't like it, do it yourself. Or, hang on a minute, if you don't like what you got for tea, go and do your shopping yourself. Simple little things like that, then it would probably have never escalated like it did for months on end. Yeah? I was always looking for attraction. I used to cause rows. It's funny to say this, but I would, if we were all right, and was never a conversationist, my partner, if we were all right and I was bored, I would cause a row. I would find myself causing a row over something stupid, like if I was watching telly. What are you watching this boring crap for? Oh, I'm bored. Can't we go out somewhere? And before you know it, there'd be another row. But little did I know, in my subconscious mind, my little inner critic was having a party up there because it was waiting for the aftermath. It was waiting for the making up, the kissing up. That's what it was, making up, breaking up, kissing up, making up, breaking up, kissing up. And I loved it. Of course I loved it, because that's all I've ever wanted. That's all I was ever searching for. Because in my heart, it was dark. It was cold and it was lonely. Reality is a hard thing to come in touch with, to keep in touch with. It's a daily practice, and it's a daily thing that you have to do to keep your boundaries in place. It doesn't mean you have to walk away from that person, and it solely doesn't. It doesn't mean that you have to leave that job or leave that friendship. But if you're sitting there in a room with a person that you're feeling absolutely, sorry Sarah, absolutely down, and like your soul is through the floor, you're like a heavy beanbag, and you just feel like the life's getting sucked out of you, it's time to check in with your body. Your body is your temple. It holds the best and everything that keeps you ticking, and it's time to step in and listen to it, because that fear is being suppressed within you. That unworthiness that you feel is being suppressed within you, and in time it will cause pain. It will cause you hurt. I've even read in a document that it even leads to very, very bad illnesses, obesity, or anorexia, because we worry. As soon as something happens, like, we worry, and then that worry just makes it go into like frenzy around your body. Of course, we all worry about different things, but if you was in soul alignment and you was at peace in your heart and soul, there's nothing to worry about on earth. There's nothing to worry about whatsoever. If you stay in the present moment, and what you didn't do yesterday can't get done, can it? You can do it the next day. Yeah? Stay in the moment. Don't go to bed. I used to go to bed with my head full of crap. I felt like I'd run a race all freaking day, absolutely shattered, got into bed, hoping to have the best night's sleep ever. I'd sleep for half an hour and that would be it. My inner critic would be dancing around in my brain and telling me all sorts. Oh, well, you didn't do this, you need to do that, and crack on with this and crack on with that. Before I knew it, I was up, span the day round again and back in bed. It's unbelievable. Honest to God, you would not believe it. Depending on how much this all takes a bit of positive attention again when you it does, but do you know what, Sarah, and I mean these, I always say my word with love, and obviously I am an intuitive healer and that's what I do, but it doesn't matter how much positivity you have within you, how many free downloads you do, how many meditations, how many journaling, you need to get the core out. You need to get down to it. And if you think you've got there and you're all right for a few months and then it comes back up, you haven't got there. You haven't got to the core of that being. You haven't got to the core of that little seed that set that tree growing. You haven't got to it. No? Because that's, again, I used to go to therapy. I would go to my mentors every now and again, and I would do a little doggy barking. I would do a bit of inner work, come out there feeling amazing. I would go on to these lives, have a chat with somebody, they would give me guidance, and I would feel absolutely amazing for about 4 months, and then the clouds started coming over again, and before I knew it, I was still doing the old doormat situation again. Even if it's not just in your relationship, it's at work, friendships. I felt myself running around after everybody else all the time because I was just trying to make everybody happy and forgetting about myself. Yeah, and in my work as well. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, that's all right. I'll do it. Yeah, no, nothing's too much for me. Well, of course it was. 'Cause that's why I was feeling exhausted. That's why I was feeling confused. That's why I had no self-worth. And definitely didn't have no love for myself. Yeah, and then I wondered why my relationships were always like that. Well, let me tell you now. If you don't love yourself, how the hell do you expect anybody else to love you? There was no love in me, I'll tell you. There was no love in me at all. None. So, yeah, it's a very vicious circle. And, it can be very draining, and it can be very very daunting, but on the back of that you've got to remember the pluses. It's very rewarding to be in soul alignment. It's very rewarding to know that nobody will talk to you like that again. It's very never, I'm not saying never, because there's always going to be a glimmer that they try to do it again, because they're just pushing their luck. Yeah, they just push like a little kid that's in the sweet shop. And you say, no, don't touch that. And then their little hands go like that until you tell them off again. Well, that's what happens. That's reality. And there'll always be something that you need to clear. Always. There will always be something that bangs into your face to make you stronger. But as time goes on, when you do the inner work, you realise that if something comes to you in a situation, you think, instead of thinking, oh God, here we go again, just my bloody luck, I never get any luck, this always happens to me, you wouldn't think like that. You just think, okay, then why is this coming to me? What is this? Why is this coming to me? What is the attention I need to pay to this? How can I work through this? Yeah? It's all about tools and techniques. Yeah? And yes, there is a lot of support out there. Like I say, I followed it for years. And then I think, oh my God, what a lot of time I wasted. But hey, that's another story. It is what it is. But, you know, I go on my groups. I do my little walk and talk. I love my walk and talk. And I'm very grateful for you guys jumping on and speaking, because I don't very often get that. So I'm grateful for that. I do my free card readings on a Saturday in my Trust Your Intuition group, which is a private group, so anybody could speak freely. Purely because it helped me. It helped me do my card readings. I did my card readings that was my guidance every day. That helped me get out of bed, yeah? Because we could all just like go to get out of bed and chuck our covers back over and think, no, I'm not coming nowhere today. But we have to get up when we've got little kids, and we have to get up when we get a job. But there is days where you feel like you just want to pull a sickie and not go nowhere. But it happens, yeah? But we can't, because we've got a life. We've got to pay our bills. We've got to do this. We've got to do that. It's life. We've got to go shopping, whatever. So, yeah, it is what it is. So, that being said, I love your walks and talks. Thank you, Sarah. So that being said, if this resonates with any of you guys, or you know somebody else that could be in this position, or somewhat similar, or you don't have to even be in this relationship position, but if you're feeling suppressed, confused and hurt, if you're suffering from anxiety, depression, overweight, because when we hold weight, we hold the weight because it's a protective mechanism within us. Yeah, believe it or not. Some might differ, but believe it or not, that's what it is. And so if you feel that this video will help, please care and share. Yeah, I have opened up a 14-day new course working one-on-one with me, supporting you through WhatsApp, which is free, voice calls or texts, whatever the choice may be, me guiding you, giving you the tools and techniques to help you. If you wish to know anything more further about that, please let me know, send me a message. It's called You Hold the Golden Ticket. And you know what? You do hold your golden ticket. Yes, we all hold our golden ticket. All of us. You know, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? You don't have to have that golden ticket to be happy. But we all hold it and we forget we got it. So once you've got it, you don't have to keep holding on to it, because once you've got it, you know how to fix it, you know how to work through it, and you've got it then, so you hold your golden ticket. Yeah? So, take care of you. I've walked and talked for quite a while today. It's been a nice walk, it's been a nice talk. Do you know what? And me talking helps me so much, helps me get it all off my chest. All off my chest and all out to the open. My mentor said to me, Alison, if you're going to be an intuitive healer, you need to speak your truth. You can't hide behind anything. Yes, you can go as far as you want with your life where you don't want people to know it publicly. That's up to you. But be yourself. Be yourself. And that really rang true to me, because I forgot who I was. I used to have a drink at a weekend and penalise myself for having it. What the hell is that all about? If you work hard, why can't you have a bottle of wine? Yeah? I used to have a takeaway and then think, oh, I shouldn't have had that. Look at the state of me. What the hell? It's just so misjudgment of myself. So always in judgment of myself. Always very critical and in judgment. Yeah? And not only of myself, of others. Of others as well. You know, somebody would say, oh, see so-and-so the other day or whatever. And I'd be like, oh yeah, I did. Oh my God, what a ball of fire we were creating there. Oh wow. It's just so simple. The things that can change your life and change the world to a better place all the way around is so simple, it's unbelievable. Yeah? It's simple as in when you know the techniques and tools and you continue to do the work, because it is an everyday thing. It is. But then having said that, if you wanted to ride a bus, you'd have to learn to drive that, and every so often you'd have to have a retake. If you wanted to be an athlete, you'd have to train every day to win that gold medal. What's the difference? If you want to go out in your car, you have to put petrol in to fuel it. Yeah? We cannot, as a body, run on an empty cup. We need to fulfill. Because when we don't fulfill, that's when our cup's empty. That's when our body's suppressed. That's when we feel all the rubbish sucking it up from the bottom of us. Anyway, I've said my words. With love, of course, as always. I hope it's helped somebody. If not, I hope you can pass the message on and share my video. As I say, the You Hold Your Golden Ticket is out. It's live. The button is active. If you just want to go in and read about it, please do so. If you know anybody that it could be help after you've read what is in there, then please do so. Allow them to see it too. So take care of you. Please care and share. And I will pop it in a post and put it on the top of this live stream. So take care of you. Have a beautiful day. And thanks for all contributing. Bye-bye.